Skan, I am your king.
What is a king to a god?
And what is a god to a non-believer?
Who don't believe in anything.
Welcome, monarchs, scheming advisors, and cult leaders, to episode 508 of an Unearthly podcast, streaming live on the 13th of April, 2024, and featuring The Ordeal of Peladon, written by Jonathan Barnes and Robert Valentine, and starring David Troughton as Peladon of Peladon. I am Bill Sylvia, the one in black, and I'm glad that I finally got a chance to use that particular opening bump. With me are color commentator Alex Fireheart.
Hello.
And technical director Mad Matt Winchell.
The rumors of my demise are greatly exaggerated.
Have we had a podcast with Matt and Aaron at the same time yet?
Once?
Once,
yeah,
okay.
I think at least once, yeah.
At least once for sure, yeah.
But you've had a busy few weeks.
Funerals, holidays.
Or eventful at the very minimal.
Took the car to the shop twice. Oh yeah, I've been busy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's fixed. It's not replaced then.
No. It's not been replaced.
Okay.
If anything,
Because I
fixing it
remember you
has taken
mentioning
away the money to replace it.
I remember you said the alternator was gone, and I like. So for a
starter
lot
not-
of the time, alternator gone means find a cheap car.
Me, we're not remembering names of things. It was the starter, not the alternator.
Oh, okay.
$100, not $1,000.
Connected to each other, but not the same thing, right? Yeah.
More or less something in the same line of stuff that you need to get the car running. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's a late start, so we don't want to probably ramble too long. But how anything you want to say about the past few weeks while you were gone?
Busy. My reaction collection has not gotten any smaller. Those darn $20 or less figures. I got a T800 recently.
Ah.
He's shiny and chrome. I like it.
Yeah.
Also today I was starting to clean up the boxes that have been sitting in the hallway since 2009. This is what happens when you move back home and you literally just can't find the space for everything. So they just stays in the boxes like it's shelves. Come to find out, one of the boxes had shirts I must have put in there like 5 years ago and forgot about. They got washed today, so I'm going to try them on and see how they fit.
If they fit, then that's a bonus.
Right.
Always finding clothes that fit.
Otherwise, I tossed out about 2 boxes worth of stuff and reorganized another 3 into 2 other boxes so far. So we're already chopping down the amount of space that these things are taking up. Because a whole bunch of that was either like useless books, useless papers, magazines that obviously I don't care about anymore. I believe there's a couple of really scuffed up CDs because they've been sitting there getting rummaged about for how long? Yeah, they're pretty scuffed at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty sad about one of them because I obviously put a lot of time with a big Sharpie on the cover of that burnt CD. It's probably a bunch of like remixes or something I got off the internet back when I was in college.
Right. It was a different time.
Those are the days. I got a Blu-ray to burn them with now.
You got a flash drive that can hold more than a lot of CDs.
Well, I still have a whole bunch of music CDs sitting around there playing. Don't get me wrong. Just a matter of time before I burn through them. But other than that, that's been the general gist of my stuff lately. Just getting
my
back into
biggest-
sorted.
Right. My biggest update at the moment is I will be at a conference next week. I technically will be here for the podcast. The question is whether I'm a zombie or not at that point. So that'll be the last day of my conference, meaning I get up early in the morning, check out of my hotel room, have them store my bag, do a day of conferencing after, the third day of conferencing, pick up my bag, walk to the train station, and then take the train home. So it's kind of 50-50 as to whether I come home and I'm like, yeah, I can set up my laptop and join in the podcast and, order a pizza, or whether I get home and I collapse face first on my bed and wake up the next morning.
I'll have to poke Bill with a stick next week, folks. See you all then.
So yeah, if I can be here, I'll be here, but don't be shocked if I'm not. And Alex also has at least one update. Oh,
Alex?
wait, Alex is BRB.
Oh.
I
I was also going to tell Alex that they need to get the big sharp stick, but they're not here at the moment.
And Alex does the birthdays. I mean, I could, in theory. I mean, there's not a lot of birthdays, so I could just go into them. All right.
Or I could do it, since I barely ever host anything.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, rather than be here all night. So on tonight's show, we have a little bit of birthdays and news. Not a busy week. No geek talk unless Matt added something. Nope.
No, I have not. I've been busy. As a matter of fact, due to my rescheduling of being able to watch stuff for the show, I've also allowed myself to finally get back into streaming games again.
But what we do have is some reviews of Shame, because we didn't want to.
Oh, so
since
you just
they were
left
already
me to sit all at once? Okay.
Yeah, they were already past reviews, so there was no point doing them without you being here. And then we have our episode summary, which is also you.
Oy.
And then review, final thoughts, and ratings. So, sure, kick us off with the birthdays.
So, yep, starting off with the birthdays. Our first birthday here. Let me get back to the list. Where did I put it? There it is. And scroll up. So, our first birthday here is Nev Mekitosh. She was Madame Vestra and other Silurians in series 5 through 8. Turned 52 this last week. Next on our list is Elspeth Gray. She was Chancellor Thalia in Arc of Infinity. Would have been 95, but sadly died in 2013 at 83.
Named Time Lord, just barely gets on the list.
Yep. Just enough to make it. Happy birthday. And this one doesn't need much saying. Peter Davison, The Doctor, seasons 19 through 21 plus, with additional stuff from Big Finish and so on. Turned 73 this last week. And lastly is David Fisher, which we had 3 different David Fishers, a character and a writer, and I believe something else. But this is the writer David Fisher. He wrote stories from 78 to 1980. Would have been 95, but however passed away in 2018 at 88. So that is our birthdays. Thank you, Nev, Elspeth, Peter, and David.
All right, moving on to our news. So first off, we have the character played by Jinkx Monsoon in episode 2. I don't have the list of episodes in front of me, but that's, yeah. Oh, yeah, in The Devil's Cord. And they've officially announced that Jinkx Monsoon's character's name is... I'm pretty sure I know it, but I want to make sure I'm looking at it. And where does it? I'm like, where does it even say it?
When they're talking to the Russell.
See, they say too many words to say not enough information. the character by the name of Maestro, which, as they know, means teacher, but could also be interpreted as master. But yeah, hopefully this is not the master.
Kind of hopeful on that one, yeah.
And yeah, that's, I mean, it's not a huge piece of news, but people were speculating, calling the character like the music master or something. Well, the character is named the Maestro. Moving on to our second and final news article, like I said, light news week. The BBC have officially unveiled Varada Sethu as the new companion, joining Ruby Sunday and Shudigatwa in Season 2. Now, people who had been following filming news knew that there was a new companion played by Varada Sethu. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Maybe Sethu. But this is the BBC officially announcing that. And they are saying alongside Ruby Sunday, not replacing Ruby Sunday, despite the rumors. Although the character name, oddly enough, has not been announced, because Varada Sethu is the actor's name, not the character's name. So they still are not sharing that information. And they're probably only saying this because it's pretty much common knowledge already, and they want to get it ahead of the rumors. But if you're filming on location, everything you do is going to be public knowledge, so you might as well announce it early, before the tabloids start saying that Millie Gibson got axed, rather than after they got the chance to run all of their rumors.
Just saying, BBC. Also, every time I hear her first name, all I can think is Platu Varada Nikto.
All right, and our final piece of news is our Big Finish releases. And that is, as of April 11th, they released Torchwood Missing Molly, written by and starring Gareth David Lloyd. So this is a Yanto-focused story.
Mm-hmm.
And no other characters on the cover, so we don't get a ton of information about that. But if you want Yanto stories, there you go. And that is the end of the news.
So I guess that goes to me now for the Miracle Day episode.
Yes, we have a solid, 20 minutes of you first talking about Miracle Day and then giving the summary.
All right, so Miracle Day, Episode 1, The New World. Favorite thing overall, a lot of missing... a lot of interesting irons in the fire, but there's not a lot of, and there's a lot of interesting angles that the story is being watched from people affected and not affected by the Miracle Day, and what's causing to happen around them. The convict in particular was interesting, as you can see his comeback to bite him, but only time will tell. Also, Jack is another interesting case, as whatever is going on is doing the exact opposite to him. He's no longer super mending, and the time singularity seems to have that has kept him alive is no longer working due to whatever is going on. Least favorite thing is that I'm worried that already for this story, as it has a lot of good ideas at the start, but as we have seen so far and very often, is that the writers in the franchise can bite off more than they can chew, and a lot of conclusions to all these things can either end up either very messy or disappointing. And as this was a very disappointing end to Torchwood, as I recall from hearing, I fear that the later is very likely going to happen at some point. This is, by the way, going off the notes I've pre-written. So I'm going to take a moment to reread what I'm trying to say here.
Okay.
Favorite moment. Gwen's family make a run for it, and they get cornered by a car. They get cornered by a car, and then out of nowhere, Jack just appears firing a rifle. I can't leave you all alone for 1 minute. Even if in the face of worries, the good parts of Jack shine through, almost like a very much a Tom Baker laughing in the face of danger kind of moment. Least favorite moment, Reese can often at times get it, but once in a while I feel like his worries about his family too easily overshadow all the big pictures around him that he just doesn't want to listen to and refuses to be part of. And in the end, it's a wasted moment to argue with Gwen as others get them seemingly permanently pulled into events at the end of the first episode. And even if they hadn't been contracted, it's likely there would have been contacted. It's very likely they would have been found anyways through other means. Overall, final thought on the episode. Interesting start with some very good character moments, but I worry it's on the road to nowhere, or likely some form of further disappointment. Only time will tell. If we're going to, and are we doing individual episode numbers?
Yeah.
Yep.
So the first one was a 4.
Okay. Yeah, the Reese trying to convince Gwen to just leave things be. I remember was at least one least favorite scene during the podcast. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, technically 2 least favorite scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, at times Reese really gets it, and then at times like this, he's written very poorly, and he just doesn't seem to get it. You don't get it, Reese. You're pulling it no matter what. It's at least some sort of level.
Yep. So 4.0 for the New World brings it to a new average of 4.13, which makes it number 463 and on par with Torchwood Sleeper. Not as good as Canine Ouroboros, and better than Torchwood End of Days.
Okay, I did leave it on Torchwood tile card. I was going to say, what did I leave this on for the stream? Okay. At least it's Torchwood related. Got it.
Yep. On to Rendition.
All right, so Rendition, general good thing. So far, things seem to be working out very well. Add a bit more depth to a couple of the other plots that quickly progressed into a follow-through for some more great character moments. So far, things seem to be holding up as pretty well in the second episode. General bad thing. I noticed it last episode and noticed it more again this episode. Practical effects, great, right on point. Digital effects never seem to work right. It looks really odd. And they tend to use a lot of like cut and paste digital effects on top of practical effects, making them look even more fake.
Even with a star's budget, they still can't manage.
Nope, it's just
digital effects.
Nope, just something about that particular house they were going with that just couldn't make the effects work right. Best moment. 2 of them, the 2 of them saving Jack via mishmash things in the plane, and Bill Pullman's story has me pondering what they're going to do with him, as I had him stapled for the most likely hand-wavy big bad to have the stop at the end, but they seem to be doing something else with him at the time. Worst moments. Instantly suspicious of the social woman, first trying to get some tie-in with Pullman's character, and then ended up deep in the medical get-together. Yeah. And trying to pull strings there as well. It seems like a giant red flag, just as bright as her outfit. Once again, seems to be holding up very well, but the final thoughts, but the same happened the last episode where it fell apart at the same has happened to other specials where it falls apart in the final acts. So I guess we'll see where it goes. Stories are interesting and effects are a mixed bag. Acting has been pretty good so far, and I guess the entire special so far is leaning about a 4.5. I'm still wary there could be some drop in bad things and kind of waiting for it to happen. So 4.5 for the second episode.
Yep. So 4.5 brings the average up to a 4.0.
Ooh.
Which puts it on par with a lot of things, but it's number 237, on par with, well, let's see, for spin-offs, K9 Jaws of Orthrus, Torchwood Captain Jack Harkness, K9 The Bounty Hunter, Sarah Jane, the Mad Woman in the Attic, Sarah Jane, the Eternity Trap, Torchwood, Everything Changes, Sarah Jane, The Wedding of Sarah Jane, Sarah Jane, Revenge of the Slitheen, Class, co-owner of A Lonely Heart, all the major spin-offs. All right. So that's what Rendition is now on par with.
There we are.
On to Dead of Night. Final review of Shame.
Dead of Night. Overall, good thing. They're at least doing a good job with the main characters, not giving them, only giving them proper moments in the story that match up to how they've been built up so far until recently, but also bringing up past tech and other things that they would have still had their hands on. Overall, bad thing. My worries of things going south plot-wise seems to be tied to Fight Core. Seems they have somehow knew everything was coming, seem to have unusual technology, and seem to be making the death row inmate into at least a figurehead for a big bad. That was all I was worried about. Here we go. Best moment, Oswald confessing that he was... that's the death row inmate confessing that he just wants to die, basically, to Jack, and that he's hiding due to what he's done, and is a very interesting moment, but I feel that should have been saved for, like, the last time we see the character, as opposed to in the middle of the story. Explaining what this guy's really all about, because keeping him more of an interesting, dynamic figure was more of a better idea. And especially if you're going to make him a big bad figurehead, it would have been more interesting to leave that why he's doing what he's doing as a thing for the last minute. To at least better explain himself at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it just feels like this is way too early and he's already shot his load and he's done. We're just waiting for him to die at some point. Worst moment. Red phone goes off. We pretty much hear nothing and get nothing from them. A good moment to set something, anything, for the real big bads of the story and how good they are at what they're doing, but radio silence and the gang is on the run again.
Yeah,
Shrug.
that scene is interesting that you can't actually even tell if they're talking or not. Rex keeps acting as if they're talking, but we don't see or hear anything. And we get that weird triangle effect that actual phones don't do.
Mm-hmm. All right. Didn't have much for final thoughts, but my rating was dropped back down to a 4. Dropping back down as I worry that I see through the lines and it's not looking good.
So 4.0 for this episode brings the average up to a 3.0.
Oh.
You're by a full point the most generous person.
Well, I'm about to downturn if this keeps going where it's going, but yeah, we'll see.
So 3.0, it puts Dead of Night at number 465. That's not, the ratings are not correct, I've noticed for some reason. Actually, I think I know why, but it's going to take a second to fix it. But it is on par with Sarah Jane Adventures, Secrets of the Stars, and no other spin-offs. Oh, it should actually be number 407. So yeah, the rankings are way off at the moment, which I have to fix. It is not as good as Class, The Coach with the Dragon Tattoo, or K9 Regeneration Liberation. And it is better than Torchwood Something Borrowed and K9 Curse of Anubis.
That's not my praise there.
Right. And that gets you caught up with Miracle Day.
Yep. So then I believe I have to describe today's episode.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
All right.
Stop
3,
Yep. Okay.
2, 1, go.
All right. So the story at this point actually starts, I believe, with a strange man out on the planet Peladon. He used to be a fisherman, and he's seeing a woman. Her daughter is deathly ill, and he hears whispers in his head that apparently he can help save the girl from whatever this illness is that's liable to kill her. When asked if he would actually help her, the man states to her, "What worse can he make things for her?" And apparently does actually heal her. This seer, this visionary of Peladon gods, is apparently getting popular enough that King Peladon of Peladon is actually starting to get whispers of him, and I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head. If anyone else can remember that while I'm going on.
The cult leader?
Yeah.
Where the hell did... Oh, there we go. His name is Skarn.
Skarn. So the king wants to actually see Skarn because he's seen some of these seers before, but most have turned out to be basically trash and very mediocre. But he's willing to give them a chance, especially since he's been hearing a lot of positive things about Skarn. However, his second in command does not really seem that interested and is a little bit trigger happy to just throw people away into the dungeon, which is what happens when a woman, the same woman, comes to talk to King Peladon. King Peladon, however, intervenes afterwards, frees her, and they both go to the village. On the way there, they get attacked by marauders or bandits, brigands. Brigands, that's the word that they used. And just as they're about to get closed in on by brigands on horseback, they are shot at by a spacecraft, which happens to be Martians. They were actually there to do a checkup on how things are going on the planet, only to find that the king is missing. Deciding to follow the king, the Martian leader of the craft decides to follow him into the village, where they are ambushed and temporarily locked up. To which you would think normally a Martian would be very angry about all this stuff, but he seems to come off as more bemused, just like he's kind of having one of those kind of, oh, I remember these days kind of an adventure. To which he does have a laser chainsaw apparently hidden on himself and frees their chain shackles, and they manage to get to the seer anyways. So once they get to Skarn, he starts to ramble on about the things he's seen and what he's done, and that the king needs to be tested and has to head off to the lake where he got his abilities. Once they get there, however, the Martian knows what happened, and basically the lake has become poisoned by nasty minerals that apparently warped Skarn. He's not actually a seer. He's had a lot of good luck up to this point, and he's actually slowly turning into a madman and is about to die soon. When confronted with all this, he also mentions the fact that he saw the Doctor, which King Peladon has also seen. It's a different Doctor. It is the 10th Doctor by the sound of his voice. But he also has to quickly leave because he realizes he's a part of things that he can't be a part of because Skarn is apparently a part of a fixed time where things don't go so well for Peladon. He quickly makes his leave, although this only makes people believe in Skarn more, which is why, in the end, it seems things are going to get a lot worse, and even the female co-leader that Skarn saved the child of also believes that she's hearing voices from Skarn and believes that more bad things are on the way, which was already predicted at this point. And that is where we leave off the episode.
Right, I get 3 minutes and 54.6 seconds.
I got about 56, but I stopped a little late, so probably around 55.
All right.
Under 5 minutes. Huzzah.
Yes, under 4 minutes even.
Even, yeah.
All right, so time for our review, starting with what Alex liked about the episode.
I guess I just like that generally this was which, you know, I feel like it might go without saying possibly, but given like the box set has, I think the main image had more than one Doctor. I feel like Colin Baker.
Yes, the cover has 6, 8, and River Song on it.
Hmm.
So there's some surprises to be had.
Yeah, like with that expectation, I was thinking like, oh, this is just going to be varying. The Doctor shows up and has an adventure that they just all happen to be on Peladon. And then the Doctor in this is just a cameo, and I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of refreshing. Because, you know, got a it allows the story to just be about the planet and the goings on rather than having to worry about, because like at first I was just assuming, wow, this is taking a while for the Doctor to show up.
Right, right.
And then after a while, it was just like, oh, okay. It's intentionally just a story about Peladon featuring people who are on or visiting Peladon. It's like,
When I was putting together the script, I was like, oh, it's interesting that they say main character King Peladon, but the 10th Doctor is in the story. Maybe it was just a typo on TARDIS, and I put starring David Tennant as the Doctor, but no, he's not starring in anything.
Not starring, no, he is a guest cameo.
Yeah.
There could be the question of, well, in that case, does he even belong here? But all done with that?
Yep.
All right, Matt, what do you like about the Ordeal of Peladon?
Honestly, I love the character work that's already being done. I mean, we've had at least a little bit of time with King Peladon before because I believe it's the previous Peladon, yes?
Yeah, this is David Troughton's character from The Curse of Peladon.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's him basically coming back into the character a number of years down the road, and it's like, oh hell yeah, let me have some more of this. This is exactly what we've always kind of said should kind of happen with Peladon, is that we need a little bit more like back and forth with it, because obviously the Doctor keeps coming back here by accident, one reason or another. It'd be nice to actually get more actual Peladon.
Yeah, there's a few other Peladon like Big Finish stories that I haven't heard, and I'm really wondering like how they fit in with everything else that's happened, or if they are just like set later in the future.
Especially given that like I'm pretty sure even I haven't seen Monster of Peladon, but I'm fairly certain that that's set far enough in advance that they didn't have David Troughton in that.
Oh, correct.
I think it's
his character's daughter is the queen, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think she appears in next week's story, so
nice.
You may want to watch that.
It might be a recurring turn for her, yeah. But yeah, we get a lot of decent time with King Peladon again. We get some more interesting characters built up around him. We get the Ice Warriors not being villains again. Thank goodness.
Right.
And we get
it was the same thing in Curse of Peladon. I think that's the only appearance in which they're not the villains.
And I can't remember the Eye's name again. That also got a quick cameo.
Oh, Alpha Centauri?
Alpha Centauri. A nice quick cameo from Alpha Centauri just to kind of, we expect Alpha Centauri to show up eventually anyways at this point. So just a quick in and out cameo.
Right.
Which is also, again, very befitting of the time frame.
Although I do wonder if she's going to show up in a larger role in the rest of the box set or not.
Never know. We'll have to wait and see. Because, yeah, if she's in one, she could easily be in multiple ones.
Yep.
If anything, for at least small cameos again. But yeah, I liked a lot of the interesting build-up, and again, we've dealt with air quotes the gods of Peladon before, and have another go at it. It seems like an interesting idea. It seems like there's a lot to do with Peladon's people not wanting to let go of the past just yet.
Yep. All right, so on to me. I'm going to say I like that Ixmari was kind of a fun character to have. His personality was pretty minor in the grand scheme of things, but just the idea of this old ex-soldier turned bureaucrat who's excited that his final mission won't be as boring as he thought it was going to be adds a bit of flavor to the episode.
Yeah.
He's also a good foil to the overly naive king who is, obviously they will greet me in open arms. How else would they think about their king?
Get him. Oh shoot!
Why would anybody ever attack people traveling on the road?
Oh dear.
All right, what do we dislike about this episode, Alex?
I think I softened on it a bit on a re-listen, but I don't know. Just something about Skarn being effectively the villain in this was very, oh, we're doing that, are we? Like,
Is he? I mean, well, I guess he's an
I mean,
antagonist.
yeah. Like, I mean, in a way, it's kind of you're kind of between a rock and a hard place because it's like, okay, either it's going to be the like head of security or whatever that's like seemingly overstepping his bounds a bit,
It,
is going to be the villain, and that's also a bit cliche. Or the
speaking
cult
of
leader.
It's like, speaking of Rarlan, it's like, yeah, he's referred to as an advisor, and then he's sometimes referred to as the chief politician, which I'm like, maybe he's supposed to be like a prime minister figure, but it's super unclear as to what his role actually is.
He's Lord High Advisor.
As for Skarn, I was thinking it was kind of interesting. It's like, so we have a messiah figure who's performing miracles, who's going to die, and then things go bad in his name. Is this Dune, Christianity, or both?
Well, the answer is yes.
In the interviews that I listened to, it sounded like they were basically like, well, when Peladon first showed up, it was an excuse to reflect real world politics with the whole England being, the UK being dragged kicking and screaming into the EU.
Mm-hmm.
So they effectively said, well, let's lean into that and go with like real worldy kind of stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me if it was supposed to be.
Yeah, they mentioned like politics. They didn't mention, but I mean, I guess
like that
what
kind
I just
of
said is kind of
aiming.
politics, but yeah.
Old world politics. You can make a religion out of this.
Like, I don't know. It was just very like one cliche villain or another cliche like antagonist. It was going to be one or the other, and I'm just like, it was actually kind of refreshing to think at first that it wouldn't turn out to be a cult. And then, oh, no, it is. They're the quote unquote. Well, I guess, one of them does kill the Ice Warrior dude.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, bad guys. And it's just like, I don't know. Maybe it's just that, like thinking about it more, it's just like, well, it's either one cliche or another. Which one are we going with? And it would have been interesting. Like it would have had to have gone in a different direction because we're not going to say cults are good. So, but I don't know. It's just that was a bit, that old chestnut for me. Like, maybe it's just the way it was written. I don't know. But, because, like, the acting is still fairly solid, but I don't know. It just didn't hit right for me.
Mm-hmm. All right. Matt, what do you dislike?
Well, you're also very upset with Skarn and where that went to him being he's actually the bad guy. I'm still sitting here going, Rarlan is just asking to become a villain in the next episode if there's a next episode. Like, it is such an obvious background red flag that you can see from a mile away. It's like, is he going to be a bad guy? Is he going to be a turncoat? I get the feeling he's a turncoat. I'm just waiting for it.
he's pretty much the bad guy from the beginning. It's like, oh, first he's keeping stuff from the king and, you know, tricking the king into believing things. Then he's lying to the Federation. And then he's, you know, oh yeah, you know, let's see if one of those bandits wants to live through the day. Like, what is, like, that's just such an obviously villain thing to say.
He also wants to maim, torture, and murder just about anybody on a whim. Just give him a reason.
Yeah. Which in its own right could be a bit of political commentary.
True.
But yeah, and it's very like, I could just picture him having to quickly hide the Jafar stuff behind his back. It feels like he's just the Disney cliche of the evil advisor to whoever's in power or whatever.
Which, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, the king
I
should
think
have a
he's
daughter at this.
Yeah,
The king
he
should
already
have
has a daughter.
at this point. So he should, and it's a little surprise he's just not like, and I will marry your daughter.
The only thing missing is a screechy voiced pet. Again, give him the next episode.
True. All right, on to me.
Yep.
So I'm going to say the characters feel a bit flat. They each have one or two traits, but they really feel underwritten. Skarn and Rarlan in particular feel like they have just the role they play in the story and no personality beyond that. Like, yes, Rarlan is evil. That's his only personality trait. Skarn is a cult leader. That's his only personality trait. Like, they are just flat. When I mentioned Ixmari and the king having like one personality trait each. Beyond that, like, so they're a little bit better, but all around, like, I just feel this story is just kind of lacking in things that distinguish the characters' personalities. Their histories define them, but they don't really have unique personalities.
I mean, I think even Nicholas Briggs was like, "Oh crap, I have to play like another Ice Warrior at some point in this box set."
Yes, he's like, how do I make him not sound like every other Ice Warrior that we've had before?
Yeah. Yeah, like he basically, even in the interview, he literally does say that. It's just like, well, crap, I want this one to sound different from the one I'm going to have to voice later.
Which is funny because just because we're human and we're biased, it would even be acceptable if the Ice Warrior just had generic Ice Warrior personality. Although it's nice that he actually is a unique character. But like that outdoes all the human characters. All right, on to our favorite scenes. Alex.
Honestly, I think I'll go with oh wow. I am already blanking on the
Did your food ever come?
name. Huh? Yeah.
Did your food ever show up? Okay. Or is that why you had to be right back and right before the news?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Rarian. Oh, Rollin. Him getting caught in the lie. When he's trying to lie. Yeah, when he's trying to lie to Ixmari, and they're just like, wow, the ball's on this asshole.
Right.
to try and lie to our faces.
It was such an obvious lie, too. He's like, the king is so sick he has lost the ability of speech. And that's why he can't even come to the phone to speak with you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't go through the phone right now. I'm going through a tunnel.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like, even if they didn't already realize that, his signature isn't there, so he's clearly not in the palace or whatever. He delivers the lie with so little conviction that I feel like they would have seen through it anyway.
Like for someone who spent his career apparently like lying to the king about stuff, he's a bad liar.
Yeah.
He's just used to an easygoing king.
Which also,
Right.
yeah, I mean that pretty much shows that like the king's wisdom score is 6. But
I guess in a way you could argue that like normally he'd have time to think of a lie, whereas this was like, oh shit, I need to come up with something like right now. But yeah, it is so funny that they're just immediately like, we know you're lying, dude. Like, don't even, what the hell are you doing?
right. All right, Matt.
You're one of my top 3 favorite planets. No, wait, 5. Top 5. No, for sure 10.
So you liked the Doctor.
It was a fun moment, and honestly, for a little cameo, it was a lot, because that was actually probably the thing that affected the story the most, was the fact that he shows up, goes, oh, I shouldn't even be here. I'm already affecting things. Shoot. I need to get out. Bye. But also just
really
added a little
affect
quick
this
little moment.
story, but it does kind of say like actually he's not just crazy. There's something going on.
Well, there's gonna be, he might be crazy, but because something he's managed to do good things up to that point, it's going to have an effect.
The Doctor doesn't even really say that. He just says like things will happen, and it could just literally be, oh, his cult is going to start a war in his name after he dies or something.
Could be. You don't know. We just sounded very negative, and he needed to get out fast before he messed things up any further.
Right. Okay. My favorite scene was Skarn trying and failing to heal Ixmari. It's really well acted. Like you could tell Skarn is not just faking it. Like he's not like, oh, I want him to die, but I'm going to pretend that I'm healing him. He's really just confused about why Ixmari died, and then like grasping at straws about, oh, the gods wished it or that, and he's just, why isn't this working? It's like because it never worked potentially.
Again, yeah, it's most likely very, very big amount of dumb luck.
Yep.
Yeah.
And his dumb luck just ran out.
I mean,
big time.
I would want to see more about damn it, I didn't write her name down. I mean, granted, there's only one woman in the story, so Harfair, yeah. Actually, there's 2 women in the story, and they're both played by the same actress. But I would want to see like what's up with Harfair's daughter to really know for sure, because allegedly Skarn healed her daughter, and that's why like she became like she's like his complete
big time
like
cult second in command.
yeah, like she's the cultiest person in the story. And it's like I would want to see like what happened with her daughter, whether it was actually something that she healed naturally from, or whether there was actually something going on. And the fact that we don't see that makes me wonder if they're intentionally saving that for like the reveal of like, here's what the gods he heard actually were. Because like we even hear their voices a couple times.
I'm curious on that too. My kind of theory that's cooking right now is that maybe getting in contact with Skarn caused her to also go crazy and hallucinate that her daughter got better when she's probably already dead.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Because she was starting to go cuckoo, and she was apparently tainted too. So,
Yeah. Like maybe she'd also drank the tainted water or whatever.
Something along those lines, yeah.
All right. So now for least favorite scenes. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. I'm going to go with the curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal of Half-Air just being like, oh, I knew it, you're evil, and stabs Ixmari. It's just like, yeah. It's very much like, it's that at least what comes to mind immediately is like the low budget Captain America movie where someone just comes up and is like, congratulations, Heil Hitler, and fucking shoots him immediately.
Yeah.
that's immediately what comes to mind.
Just went from about a 3 to a 10.
Yeah.
But it's and I mean, this is an example of her just kind of being like so devoted that she's lost any rationality. Because up until that point, she's like, oh, the Doctor, obviously it was a miracle caused by the gods who brought an alien here. Oh, Ixmari came and shot the bandits. Obviously it was a miracle where the gods called an alien here. And then all of a sudden she's like, it's like, this alien doesn't believe in Skarn. Aliens bad. Must kill aliens.
When did we turn into the Empire of Mankind? Darn dirty Xenos.
Peladon kind. All right, Matt, what's your least favorite scene?
Least favorite scene. I feel there's something going on there too that was very quickly hand waved away. That we got excavation site going on near that lake too, which may or may not be causing all the dirty pollutants in the lake too. Who would have thunk? So, did nobody realize this giant piss-off lake near the castle that's only barely a day's walking journey away might just be the least bit poisoned due to mining going on? It might be doing something to affect the locals, just saying. If there's a lot of Sears from this town, I can see why, because they're all gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They also need to stop drinking the Cocoa Puff water, apparently.
Mm-hmm. And fishing in it.
And fishing in it, and eating from it, and just even stepping near it. You'd think turning blood red would have been a hint.
It used to be water.
There's another reference for you.
All right, my least favorite scene was when the king swears to do whatever Rarlan says. It's just completely out of the blue, like it doesn't match what came before it. He realizes after years, he's like, oh wow, I've been doing a shitty job as king. So he could A, say, I'm going to be a better king, or B, I'm going to be an even worse king. And he chose B. Why?
Well, Rarland, you're officially better than me. Just tell me what I need to be doing, because I'm a schmuck.
And, like, I feel like that would make more sense if Roland was, like, actually the villain.
I'm waiting for another episode 2.
He's the only villain we've seen so far, so... We just haven't seen his end game yet, which, yeah. Is he on the cast list for episode 2?
Yeah, is he on the cast list for any upcoming episodes? It would be David Stoltzker.
He's not on the cast list for episode 2.
Yeah, apparently he is only in the Ordeal of Peladon, so there might be a time skip.
Dang. Well, so
I don't even know what the point of him was then.
Yeah, he feels like he's being set up for the big bad of another episode, but he's just gone.
You would think the point is for him to overthrow Peladon and become the new king, but we've already watched the second episode in the Third Doctor era, in which he's not the king.
Yeah. Like, all I can think of then is that literally he just exists to be a red herring.
Apparently,
Think,
which is also
the thread
lame.
in the episode. Yeah, it was like he just exists to make you think, oh, well, clearly that cliche is the one we're going to go for. And not, oh, it turns out this other guy is actually a cult leader.
Who would have thunk?
Yeah. I guess so. And that's the end of least favorite scenes. So, final thoughts.
I still think, like, warts and all, I still think this is a decent listen. It's not like, you know, greatest thing ever or mind-blowing or anything like that, but it is nice to revisit this planet again. And it's nice for David Troughton to get a chance to reprise a role that he had in Classic specifically. I mean, we'll see where we go. I will say, I did not... I probably should have figured that it was Nick Briggs, but I did not realize that it was him playing Ixmari until the credits, and I was like, huh, you know what? That was a very interesting acting choice for him to make for that character. In hindsight, I'm surprised I didn't see it coming a mile away that the the guy who's friggin' like, oh, one last mission away from retirement was gonna die, but oh well. Yeah, I almost wonder if some of the theming of like the religious stuff is just a bit too on the nose, even for me, because like, you know, the Pertwee era was very, very blunt about about its theming, but this even seems a bit like, okay, random fisherman, but I am but a humble fisherman, goes on to be fucking like, the only way it could have been any more on the nose is if he was a fucking carpenter.
Right. Yeah, I didn't think about this. Yeah. So more Jesus inspired than Dune inspired.
But yeah.
No. He didn't have to be a carpenter. He had to be the carpenter's son.
True. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's like I still like this, but yeah, there are a lot of like, okay, either this is too on the nose or this could have been written better. This character probably shouldn't have been there if he was just going to be a red herring. You know, I still think it holds up enough to be decent. It just prevents it from being like great. That's all I've got, I think.
All right, Matt.
I will say that I agree that the characters were a little bit one-dimensional, but they were still fun characters nonetheless. Some really good moments here and there, and again, it's nice to flesh out a little bit more of what's going on in Peladon between the few visits we've gotten so far. And it's been one of those places that we have been interested in, but so far had gotten nothing more out of it. That said, I think the story was decent, but I do agree that the characters needed a little more time to cook. And I'm also very interested in seeing what the actual follow-up is going to be to this, because apparently they're hinting at a lot of disastrous effects after the story's done. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
All right, so that's on to me then. And I'd say this doesn't feel like a complete story, if not for the Scribe Awards nominating one specific story and all of them having separate names. This would make me think we should just treat Peladon as one single story. The scene with the Doctor feels forced in, and I put in my notes just to say that Skarn's gods aren't just a hallucination. But as Matt pointed out, we actually still don't know that.
Nope.
It doesn't come to any resolution on its own, and the acting was more good than bad, and I was going to say that bumps the score to be in the fairly positive range, but realizing that the Roiland plot was just a whole lot of setup that just is not going anywhere in a future episode almost makes me want to bring the score, penalize the score a bit. I'm still kind of thinking about whether that's going to affect my final rating or not. Speaking of which, final ratings.
I'm going between two, but I'm wondering how either mean or forgiving I want to be. Because I usually try to, especially with this kind of stuff, I usually try to just compare it to like other, in this case, other audios rather than anything else. You know what? I think the acting is good enough that I will be slightly nice and give the
so far this season for audios, you have a 3.5, a 4, and a 4.5. So some good benchmarks.
Yeah, I'd say this is a 3.5.
3.5. Matt.
I'm a little bit nicer. I think it's a 4. It's good. It's not amazing, but it's good.
And yeah, I was originally going to give this a 4.0, but I think I'm giving this a 3.5. Which gives us an average of 3.67. And that falls where? So that places this as number 297 out of 466 things reviewed. It is on par with The Creed of the Crummin and Sarah Jane Smith Ghost Town. It is not as good as The Destroyer of Delights, The Evil One, The Innocent, or Master. And it is better than Fright Motif and Dust Breeding. And that's all we have to say about the Ordeal of Peladon. Please let us know in the comments what you thought of this week's episode. If you've listened to it, my notes say watched it, but you can't really watch a big Finnish audio drama.
Nope.
Don't forget to like the video if you've listened this far, and make sure to subscribe on YouTube to get our exports every week, or follow us on Twitch to get notified when we stream. Next time, we continue to look at the Scribe Award-nominated Peladon box set with The Poison of Peladon, written by Lizzie Hopley and starring Alex Kingston as River Song.